so okay. Here's the first problem, and this problem is a multi-step problem because what do you guys notice? Is A by itself on one side? No, and kind of yes. Is it only on one side of the equation? Yes, but it's kind of split into two. Is there any way to combine them so that it's just one? That you have one A term? Yes, Jack?
11A.
Yeah, what's 6A plus 5A? 11A equals negative 11. What did we just do when we combined those together? Remember what they're called? They're called?
Terms.
Close? What kind of? Like terms. Like terms have the same variables. And we'll add to that later on, but they have the same variables. So 6A and 5A, do they both have the same variable? Yes. So you can combine them by doing 6 plus 5 is 11. All right, how do I solve for A? This shouldn't be too bad. Timothy?
Negative 11.
Sorry.
Is it a fraction?
No, what do you do to both sides? So think, what's happening to A? Sophie?
It's being multiplied, so I don't know what the word is.
Inverse operation?
Yeah, inverse would be the division.
Yeah, you divide both sides by 11. That cancels that out. You're left with A equals negative 1. So that would be my solution. When you're checking, you can do it mentally now. So you could write it out, but you can also do it mentally. So I'm going to check on the first equation, see if it really works. What's 6 times negative 1? So here I'm thinking in my head, that's negative 6. What's 5 times negative 1? Negative 5. So I have negative 6 plus negative 5 is? So does that work? Yes, it works. It's the only number that works. Would positive 1 work? It almost works. So you get 6 plus 5 equal, positive 11. But that's not the same. Negative 1 works. Yes, ma'am.
Do you subtract when they're different signs?
So like if this was minus 5A, is that what you mean?
No, like if at the top, not that. If 6 was positive 6, would you subtract?
Yeah, if this is positive 6 plus negative 5, you do 6 minus 5 is 1. And then 6 had the greater absolute value, positive 1. Yep. Mentally, just go through it. So if you get it wrong, that's your fault, is what I'm saying. Do you understand what I mean by that? Like you should be able to check it. If you need to show it on paper, great. But you should be able to check these. Okay, let's do number 2, because that one's a little bit tougher with the negatives or the minus, subtraction. It's tough. Okay, can I make this equation simpler to look at or simpler to deal with? Bella, what do you think?
Negative 6 plus negative 2.
Good. What's that going to give me? And Bella, you did something really well. She said it algebraically. She said negative 6n plus negative 2. Or so negative 6 plus negative 2 is what? Negative 8n. Negative 8n. So are these like terms? Yes, they both have n. And what's negative 6 plus negative 2? Negative 8. And then how do I solve for n? So, yes, Callie?
Divide negative 8 on both sides.
Yeah, you're going to divide by negative 8 on both sides. You're going to get n equals negative 2. So I think that's my solution. And I will check that real quick mentally. And this is where you have to be careful with negative signs. They mean something. What's negative 6 times negative 2? Positive 12. What's negative 2 times negative 2? Positive 4. So now these are being added. What do I get?
16.
So that's the only one that works. You guys get that? Okay. Number 3, and then we'll kind of skip some others. Any questions on this so far? Yes, ma'am.
I don't understand how you figure out how to check this.
So checking it means this. If you get this answer, what you're saying is that the variable n stands for negative 2, right? That's what you're saying it is. So if you look back at the original equation, you're saying that this number should be negative 2 and that number should be negative 2. And the way to know if that's true or not is does it make it a true equation. Let's say I figured it out and I got n equals negative 1. Let's say that's my answer. So what's negative 6? I'll do this here real quick. What's negative 6 times negative 1? Positive 6. What's negative 2 times negative 1? So I get 6 plus 2. Oh, man. So is n equal to -1? No, it can't be. But -2 does work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you're doing that for a lot of the problems in this chapter. So it's good to do that. Yes. All right, number 3. Let's do that one together. 4x plus 6 plus 3 equals 17. Is that a simple equation? Like, is it simplified? Or can I combine things to make it simpler?
Yes.
Okay, Mackenzie?
You could do 6 plus 3.
Okay, 6 plus 3 is what?
9.
So I have 4x plus 9 equals 17. Now, these are my two-step equations, which is a review from a couple days ago. All right, does anyone know what you would do first here? Tell me what to do first to solve. I want to solve it. Jack, first thing. Very nice. Subtract 9 from both sides. Okay? That'll get that canceled out. You get 4x equals
8.
Wow, I was gonna put something else. 8. Good. 8 works. And then what do you do to both sides to solve completely, Sophie?
You divide 4x on each side.
You divide both sides by
4.
4. Good. Because you want to leave x on the left side in this case. And you get x equals
2.
Is that really the answer? Let's check it in the original. What's 4 times 2? All right, what's 8 plus 6 plus 3? Yep. So does that work?
Yep.
That has to be the right answer. No other number fits. Yes, ma'am?
So why did you do 6 plus 3 first? Because in PEMDAS you have to do like the multiplication.
Okay, so here, and when you're looking at, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, because I don't want to say that. You do 4 times x, right? You can't figure that out because you don't know what x is. But then you would have to add these two together. So what we're trying to say is you would multiply these two first. And we did that, didn't we? 4 times 2. And then we add 6, then we add 3, and we get 17. So here, you can combine like terms first. And that's still following PEMDAS. Yes. And I'll kind of go through that more because I know your question, I think. But it takes me a little bit longer to explain it. But that's a good question. Yes. You may. Okay. I'm going to tell you this right now. Normally, you get an answer. Sometimes you don't. Now, actually, you're bringing up a great point. What I mean is, by an answer, is you'll usually get x equals a number. And you can sometimes get x equals 0. That counts. Like if 0 fits in there, good. But sometimes you get x equals nothing. You're like, nothing. Let's look at number 7. So skip a few here. I think you can do those ones in between for homework. So number 7, -10 equals -14v plus 14v. Bless you. Before I start solving for v, can I make this a simpler equation?
Yeah.
So what do I combine?
14 plus 14.
Yeah.
I mean, -14 plus 14.
Don't these two combine together? And what do they give me?
V.
They technically give me 0v, which is what? Just 0. Because what's 0 times anything?
0.
So that's that multiplicative property of 0. You get these two combined give you 0v. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
But then what's 0 times anything? It's a 0 right here. So I have this. Where's my variable?
Nowhere.
It's nowhere. Now, you're not done with this problem. Is -10 equal to 0? No. This is a false. Equation, right? In fact, if you do this process and you get at the end a false equation, there is no number that fits for v. There's no number you can find. None out there in the entire. Yeah, no solution. There's nothing. Put no solution. Yeah, because false is how you get to no solution. Yes, ma'am?
Where did the v go?
What's 0 times v? Yeah, so the v, he kind of goes away because anything times 0 gives you 0. So he kind of disappeared. He's gone. Now, I said there's no solution. Can someone find it for me? Give it to me. What can V be and make that top equation true? Give it to me. What can V be? Let's see. Let me get some possible answers, then give me a question. Yeah, what do you think, Bob? Okay, 0. Let's see. What's negative 14 times 0?
0.
Okay, that would be 0. What's 14 times 0?
0.
So what's 0 plus 0?
0.
Would 0 equal negative 10? Bummer, that doesn't work. What does work?
Nothing.
Nothing. There's no possible answer. None. I can't find it. You can find it, you get $1 million.
Really? That's Jesus.
Now, because of logic and rationale, no answer. And this happens. You know what happened here? Practically, we came up with an equation. The equation was wrong. There's no solution to it. So the equation, there's no solution. You did something wrong in your equation, which happens. Yes, ma'am.
0 is or b is being multiplied by 0.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you undo?
And that's a great question. So you would divide both sides by 0?
Yeah.
This is cool. If you divide both sides by 0, what's negative 10 divided by 0? Not 0. There's no value for that. Actually, let me do something. This is great. I like that question. I have a calculator. I have 3 of them, actually, but I have a calculator here. This is worth approximately $120.
Okay.
And I want to see, because I don't know what the number is, I'm going to put negative 10 divided by 0. So you see that, Braden? Actually, I need to clear that up. Let me try it again. Negative.
What kind of calculator is that?
It's a...
Is that like the one
It's a calculator X.
So you see it's negative 10 divided by 0?
Yes.
Negative 10 divided by... I have witnesses here.
Yes.
Here, negative 10 divided... Is it negative 10 divided by 0? Negative 10... Okay. So I'm going to push enter. What happens? What do I get? I get ERR. What does that mean?
Error. Which means it was too high.
It's too high.
calculator?
It says... Sometimes that is true, like it's too big of a number, but in this case it says here, do you see here, Max? It says divide by 0. Do you see where it says divide by 0, ERR?
I see.
You are not allowed to divide by 0 because there's nothing you can get with that. There is a reason behind it, and it takes me a little bit of time, but okay, this is actually kind of fun. 10 divided by 2. Okay, we could do that, right? What do you get? 5. Okay, you guys agree with that? Okay, the reason that 10 divided by 2 equals 5 is because you can do the inverse operation and get all these numbers to fit. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. What's 5 times 2?
10.
So does that work? All right, so 10 divided by 5 also gives me?
10.
So this all works, right? Let's try that. I'll put negative 10 divided by 0. We think it might be 0, but let's try it. What's 0 times 0?
0.
It can't be that. There's no numbers. So what's negative 10 divided by 0?
1.
That doesn't work. Because we already checked the calculator and said no. Don't do that. And you can't go here.
I know what it equals.
You know what's kind of cool? The technical answer is undefined. Because this is what happens. This is why it's an error. 10 divided by 0 can be anything or everything.
So it could be 2.
If you're too careless with it, so we don't have a value. It's undefined.
Wait, so could the answer be 1?
No. Let's try it. What's negative 14 times 1? Negative 14. What's 14 times 1? Positive 14. What's negative 14 plus positive 14? Doesn't give it to me. Okay.
Negative.
Number 4.
Uh-huh.
Is that one also knows?
No. That one has a solution.
Has anyone ever tried to find it? Probably.
So weird.
Right?
Yes, I would say, yeah, people are trying to find it, but they can't because there's nothing.
So is it technically even an equation if there's no...
Yeah, and remember that if you get that answer, that means the equation was wrong.
But it's still
It's
an
like-
equation because then it equals 1.
Exactly, but it was a false equation.
So is there a parallel equation is true?
No, but that's okay.
This paper?
Yes, possibly. Not many. All right, let's go ahead and come back. These are good questions. I like them, and I hope you understand that right now my brain is kind of like, wait, there has to be something, but then I get stuck. Okay, let's go to number 10. Number 10 is a minus 2 plus 3 equals negative 2. And what do I do before I start solving for a? Because it's kind of complicated. Jack?
You can make 2 plus 3, 5.
Say that again?
You can make 2 plus 3, 5.
And see, this is where we have to be really careful. It's 3, but what's the 2?
Negative.
It's negative 2. And I'll show you why you couldn't do it the other way. What's negative 2 plus 3? 1. So I have a plus 1 equals negative 2. Mr. A, I don't like this. How did you go from subtraction to addition? Well, wasn't it already addition if we're thinking algebra?
Yes.
If you don't think of it algebraically, you cannot figure this out. So that's why I like algebra, because it's going to help me with this one. Sir?
So I kind of forgot to add 2 and 3, and I still got the same answer that you did.
Oh,
So
yes.
is that 5?
Technically, sorry, what'd you do then? What'd you do?
So I did just, first off, I started off minus 3.
From both sides?
Yeah, and then I got negative 5, and then I did plus 2, and I got a.
That works, but you just made it a 3-step problem instead of you made it a 2-step problem instead of a 1-step problem.
It's just harder.
It makes it harder, especially these numbers are like one's a fraction, one's a decimal. Don't really want to do that. Yep.
Which it's a multiplied by 1 since all the signs are gone to digits.
All right, listen carefully here. If I look at A, what's happening to A? It is being, pay attention guys, added with 1. What undoes addition of 1?
Subtraction.
All right, and you got to be careful. You get A equals negative 3. And if you're working through this and you're like, no, this can't be the answer, well, let's check it. If A is negative 3, what's negative 3 minus 2?
Negative 5.
Negative 5 plus 3? It's the only number that works. It's the only one number that works. Nothing else works. Yes, ma'am?
That looks like it was like a minus 2 plus 3, not a negative 2.
Yes, it does look like it was a minus 2, and it could be seen that way. But what you should be able to see is a plus negative 2.
Okay, so that's
Because stay, change, opposite. Do you remember that? Stay, change, opposite. And the reason we go through that is it makes it much easier. Yes, sir.
Are you allowed to get like a fractional answer?
Oh, yeah, you can. And some of them will, not on today's packet. But if it works, it is the correct answer. And as I'm looking here, no fractional answers. All of them are integers. No, if you get a fractional answer on this paper, you did something wrong. Because it's not going to be the answer. Okay, let's keep going here.
Yes, number 12.
Steal the other answer. No, number 12 is special. We should do our.
Let's do number 11 first.
Can we do the distributive property?
That's the best way. That's the best way. That is the best way on these problems. Okay, I'm going to give one last warning to the talking. Let's keep it down so we can work on this and help each other out. 18 equals 3 times 3x minus 6. You could do it 2 ways here, basically 2 ways, but I want to go through the distributive property because that will be the easiest one going forward. So is this simplified? Is this as simple as it can be? No. So 18 equals distributive property. What's 3 times positive 3x? 9x. Or positive 9x. What's 3 times negative 6? Negative 18. Okay. Now what do I do to solve for x? Emma Grace. Okay, I'm going to add 18 to both sides. And remember, both sides of this equal sign. That cancels that out. I get, what's 18 plus 18? 36 equals 9x. What do I do to both sides now to solve? Yes, Sydney?
By
Divide both sides by 9, and I get 4 equals x, or reflexive property says x equals 4. Is that really the true answer? Let's see. What's 3 times 4? 12. 12 minus 6?
6.
12 minus 6 is 6. 6 times 3? It works. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Right here?
Yeah.
Great. If you're thinking of it, ready? If you're thinking of it as plus negative 18, is that what you're thinking of it? Which is good. What undoes adding negative 18? Adding positive 18, which is the same thing we did. So, did we add positive 18 here to both sides? Yes. So it still cancels out. But that's why thinking of it through arithmetic will get you so far. It will get you pretty far. But then you get stuck. And then thinking of it algebraically helps you to get all the way for all of these problems. So you get stuck on arithmetic. You're like, and then on algebra, yes, I get it. So yeah, we'll get more practice. Okay, let's go to another one here. Let's go over to number 16. So turn the page, please. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come around as you're doing your homework, and I'm going to check. Did you do the problems we did and no others? Negative 2 equals negative n minus 8. Ugh. Listen to me carefully, because if you see another problem like this, I want you to be ready for it. And this is Algebra 1, like, directly. Okay, if I look at this problem, I'm thinking, all right, is it simple here on the right side? No. The negative sign means minus. It means negative. And does anyone know what else it could mean?
Addition.
Just this sign. Just think of this sign. Okay, you adding a negative? Okay, but I just...
Less than.
Opposite of. Okay, so ready? Let's look at a review problem here. How can I read this? Minus 3, negative 3, opposite of 3. You guys okay with that? I can read it those ways. Because when I look at this, that helps me to really pick it out. By the way, which one of these would be best to describe this number right here? Which one of these? Minus 3, negative 3, or opposite of 3? Which one do you think? Negative 3. Negative 3. I would say opposite of 3 is second best, and minus 3, because there's nothing minus 3. There's just a negative sign with 3. But you can read it either way. All right, how would I read this? I can read it minus n minus 8, negative n minus 8, or opposite of n minus 8. Hint, look at my non-verbal cues. Can I do it again? Minus n minus 8, negative n minus 8, opposite of n minus 8.
We should do the opposite.
John, what do you think? Thank you. Now, if you thought of it as minus or negative, it still works, but it just makes it kind of fuzzy. Okay, this is a cool little thing. I'm going to teach it both ways and see what you get. All right, so you get negative 2. What is the opposite of n minus 8? What do you think the opposite of n minus 8 is?
Negative.
Okay, Marissa?
N plus 8.
Close, very close.
N plus negative 8.
Negative n plus 8. Negative n plus 8 is the opposite of n minus 8. Basically, you know what happened? The signs changed on both of these, right? You got a negative now and a positive 8. You see that? And we're going to check to see if this works, because either I'm making something up, which is possible, or it actually works out, which is also possible. I hope. You could say it. You can call this n plus negative 8. You could technically say that. So this would be negative n plus positive 8 if you did the opposite of that. But you don't make it. It's when you're dealing with subtraction that you really want to change it. Like here, just leave it like that. That's good. Yep.
Can you just do 8, or can you just do
let's check that in just a moment. Let me do this way. We'll check it that other way. Okay. Here. What do I have to do first to solve for n? What's my first step? Yes, Mackenzie?
Subtract 2, 8.
Subtract 8, right? From both sides. All right, what's negative 2 minus 8?
10.
Negative 10. Negative 2 minus 8 or negative 2 plus negative 8 is negative 10. Either way. But I get equals negative n. Do I want what negative n equals, Timothy?
Maybe positive 10 equals n.
Positive 10 equals n. I don't want what negative n is. I want what positive n equals.
Wait, how, wouldn't there be a negative still?
You see how they're both negatives? You know what I did to both sides? Technically, I multiplied both sides by negative 1. What's negative 1 times negative n? And what's negative 1 times negative 10? Am I allowed to multiply both sides by the same thing? Yeah, okay, but I don't believe that's my answer. I actually am very doubtful of this answer. Put it in here. What's 10 minus 8? What's the opposite of 2? Anything else fit? Any other number fit? No, that's the only number that fits. Okay, I'll do another one because that is a little bit tough. Let's go with...
Can we do one of the ones with two sides?
Yeah, like
Yes, we're going to definitely do those because that's the whole point of this new lesson. Let's just go to that. You actually don't have another one of these, thankfully. We'll get those later. Yes, sir. Let's do number 21 first. Number 21. That's the first one of this new type. So everything else, slightly new. This is all new right here. 8 times 4k minus 4 equals negative 5k minus 32. Oh, that's a mouthful. Is it complicated?
Yes.
Make it simpler before you start solving for k. My first problem is that the left side is not even simplified. Can I make the left side simpler? And if so, how can I do it, Marissa?
You do 8 times 4, which is 32k.
Okay, so 8 times 4k is 32k.
8 times 4 is 32, so 32k minus 32.
Yeah, so you can think of it as 8 times negative 4 is negative 32, or 8 times 4 is 32 subtracted.
wouldn't you just get K?
Where?
You say 2.
Look at this, guys. Are these like terms?
No.
I can't combine them. They're not the same terms. You can't just combine them. Because this one has a K and this one does not have a K. You can't do anything else to combine them. But I still have a problem. I have K on the left and K on the right. So there are two ways to work this problem out, and there's an easy way and there's a hard way. Some of you really like the variable on the left. How many of you like working the problem with the variable on this side? How many of you like it on the right side? Okay, some of you. How many of you doesn't matter? How many of you don't like it? No, okay. I was going to say don't like either. Don't say anything. But anyway, you can do it on either side, but this is what you got to do. You got to follow those rules. So this is what I'm going to do. Am I allowed to add 5k to both sides? Am I allowed to add the same thing to both sides of an equation?
Well, I thought you did the non-variable thing first. Like
Um,
add 32.
You could,
Well, it's even more
but I like dealing with the variable because I want to get the variable by itself. Okay, am I allowed to add 5k to both sides? And you're probably thinking, okay, yes, you are. But why would I do that? What's negative 5k plus 5k? So do I have the variable on the right side anymore? No, I'm done with it on the right side. But what do I have left here on this right side? Good, negative 32. All right, here, if I add like terms, I get 32k plus 5k. Am I allowed to add that?
Yes.
That's 37k minus 32 equals negative 32. Okay. Okay, forget it. Anyway, now, is k on one side of the equation?
Yes.
So now I can solve it like I would any other two-step equation. That's basically what the lesson is. Get this k on one side or the other. There was another way to do it. I could subtract 32k from both sides. Am I allowed to do that, by the way? Yeah, but then you have a negative, and it's on the right side, so it makes it kind of tough. Does anyone know what's happening to k first? Being multiplied, and then? How do I undo the subtraction then? Add 32, add 32. Uh-oh. I get 37k equals 0. Oh, man, is that what we're talking about? Oh, man. Careful. What do you do to both sides? Is it solve for k still? Divide by 37. Yeah, these are more steps, but I think what's harder is that it's just bigger numbers. So it really isn't that bad, and we'll keep going through some. All right, k equals what? 0. Wait, I thought it's that no solution one. Okay, you can do 0 divided by any number, because that's going to give you 0. But can you do any number divided by 0? No. So here's the difference. Where's my marker? Okay. Please understand there's a difference between dividing by 0 and dividing 0. Am I allowed to do 0 divided by 37? We said it's 0. Does that really work though? What's 0 times 37? That works, doesn't it? Can you do this? Okay, it does work. The other way does not work. Is 0 really the answer though? It does check. What's 4 times 0? 0 minus 4? Negative 4 times 8? Negative 32. What's negative 5 times 0? 0 minus 32? Negative 32 equals? Negative 32. It works. Okay, let's do another one.
Can we do 24?
24 is not the hardest one. Let's do 22. I'm trying to do some of these hard ones so you can do. Yeah, 22. Yeah, shouldn't be that bad. Excuse me, 24. 22 though. Negative 8 times negative 8x minus 6. This was way harder than the bottom one, but it's possible to get. All right. Are both sides simplified? No. How can I make the left side simpler? Sophie?
You can, left side can do 6x from both sides.
Nope, because I have those parentheses. I have to use this property first, Bella. Okay, I do negative 8 times negative 8x is 60, positive 64x. What's negative 8 times negative 8? Yeah, let's finish up. What's negative 8 times negative 6? Negative 8 times negative 6. Whoa. So 8 times 6 is 48. A negative times a negative.
No, but equals a positive plus 40. Oh, that's positive. Quotient product.
Yeah, that's positive right there.
Rule of life.
Okay. Hold on. Do you want me to finish this?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to get the variable only on the left side. So what can I do to get rid of it here? Add 6x to both sides. All right, I cancel it out there. I get 70x plus 48 equals negative 22. You're like, I can't do that. Watch what happens. What do you do to solve for x now? Now that it's all by itself, now that it's on the left side, you subtract 48 from both sides. Remember, it's first being multiplied by 70 and then being added with 48. So what do you have to undo first? The 48. So you subtract 48. Doesn't that get that canceled? 70x equals, oh no, what's that? Negative 70. What do you do lastly? So you get x equals negative 1. All right, how about this? Just finish up that first page and we'll finish up the back page tomorrow. Or the back page. Go. Go before I change my mind.